When I watch a horror film, I usually don't realize how effective it truly is while the end credits are rolling, but much later. A movie might frighten or unsettle me in the moment, but the real test is how it lingers when I'm trying to fall asleep at night or when I walk into a dark room. A good horror film can jolt you temporarily, but a great one stays with you and makes you afraid of the sounds of the night. Films like this are rare, but Ian Tuason's unsettling, deeply disquieting, and genuinely terrifying work is exactly that kind of example. A film that has the nerve to leave you disturbed long after it has ended.
What is A24's Undertone about?
Undertone centers on Evie, who returns to her childhood home as her mother is dying. At night, Evie co-hosts a paranormal podcast with Justin. While Justin is a true believer in the strange phenomena they discuss, Evie approaches their topics with a more skeptical mindset. Justin receives an email containing 10 audio recordings that document paranormal experiences suffered by a couple named Mike and Abby. As the podcast episodes analyze these recordings, inexplicable and unsettling events begin to occur inside Evie's home.
Ian Tuason proves he is an exciting new voice in horror. From the very beginning of Undertone, it's immediately clear how meticulously director Ian Tuason constructs each scene and how deliberately he shapes the story both visually and sonically. Evie records her podcast at 3 a.m., so the house is naturally dominated by shadows and negative space, an environment Tuason skillfully exploits in every moment. In one striking example, a scene is divided into two halves. On the right, Evie is visible in a room illuminated only by the glow of her computer screen, while on the left sits an empty, darkened room. Even though the action unfolds on the right, our attention is inevitably drawn to what we can't see on the left. Undertone excels at misdirection, guiding your focus in one direction while shocking you from another, or managing to frighten you even when you're certain nothing will happen. Although Undertone takes place entirely within a single house and centers on just one woman and her ailing mother, Tuason's framing renders the story claustrophobic and suffocating. He frequently positions the camera in uncomfortably close proximity to Evie, making you reluctant to look beyond her immediate surroundings. Slow camera rotations, or rooms lingering at the edge of the frame, become unsettling ways of amplifying fear within this confined setting. While plenty of eerie moments occur on screen, Undertone consistently makes you jump by reminding you that the most terrifying things may be lurking just beyond what we can see. The film's true strength, however, lies in its exceptional sound design. Tuason, who also wrote the screenplay, tells the story so intimately from Evie's perspective that the audience is completely pulled in and mesmerized. The ticking of a clock or the creak of stairs can be deeply effective, but when Evie puts on her headphones, the silence itself becomes equally oppressive. This sharpens our focus on the audio recordings Justin plays, drawing us into the mystery as we attempt to piece together the truth alongside Evie. Undertone works brilliantly in a movie theater, where it becomes nearly impossible to tell whether certain sounds are coming from the film or the audience, especially as the events spiral into chaos. It's difficult to even imagine how disturbing Undertone could be when watched alone with headphones. In recent years, the Academy Awards have shown a greater willingness to recognize horror films, and for that reason alone, Undertone should absolutely be part of the conversation for Best Sound at the 2027 Oscars.
Nina Kiri stands out as the film's sole central character.
Aside from her mother, who remains bedridden, Evie is the only character we see throughout the entire film. Because the story unfolds entirely from her perspective, Kiri allows us to feel every strange sound and unexpected shift the film presents. Her performance is compelling. Rather than trying to explain what is happening to the audience, or even to herself, she helps us understand everything through her immediate reactions. We experience Evie's feelings of helplessness, fear, and uncertainty alongside her. In Undertone, there are several performances that may not seem particularly important at first, even though they contribute to the story, yet they ultimately leave a strong impact. Michelle Duquette, who plays Evie's mother, not only conveys the pain of watching a loved one slowly drift away and the hardships faced by caregivers, but also delivers a powerful performance largely confined to a bed, with minimal movement and seemingly removed from the storm. What initially appears to be a limited role ultimately leaves a lasting impression. Another striking aspect is that many of these performances rely almost entirely on voice. Chris Holden Reed's Justin provides a perfect counterbalance to Evie. Their playful exchanges reflect years of friendship and trust. These conversations add context to the story without ever feeling excessive. The narrative relies heavily on these recorded back-and-forth dialogues, and when this approach fails, the film risks losing its way in the dark. Fortunately, it works flawlessly. The same can be said for the 10 audio clips voiced by Jeff Young and Sarah Bowden. As we listen to these recordings repeatedly, we are forced to use our imagination to piece together what happened. Like Justin and Evie, we never have the full picture. We only know the version of events constructed in our minds from these sounds, and Young and Bowden effectively deliver their narratives using voice alone. While Undertone may not offer something entirely new to the horror genre, Tuason's direction adds a layer of depth that makes stories of spirits or curses deeply unsettling. Undertone becomes one of those rare horror films where listening is more frightening than watching. Undertone premiered at the 2026 Sundance Film Festival and will be released in theaters on March 13th.